policies, trying to help with some of your issues that you have with the university policies. So I have to say, I might have a little problems with this thing, but we'll give it a whirl. So, one thing that's important that we wanted to stress is the purchasing handbook for the policy and procedures. So, of course, and Donna made the comment, you are going to send out the PowerPoint. So there is a link to this manual. It has a lot of information. Please know that it breaks down into sections of the information. We are also currently working on updating this handbook as well. So as you see edits and changes, you'll see marks on the off to the side that will say when it was updated. So the other thing is that we have done in the past, we have separate little policies that has been for the travel module, for byway and all kinds of things, and we're merging all of those into one location so that we're not having to have these separate little policies of you need to go here, you need to go there. So please be aware that the policy handbook is being updated, and it's important. It has all our key information. So the other thing is our customer support, as Donna has up there, call when in doubt, the 9200 number. I will tell you that we have kind of started some, what we call our call center hours. So we are in there, I have to say, at the normal working hours, but we don't start taking calls till 9 o'clock in the morning. And we close the call center hours at 4:30. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't be there. We can still help you. Leave a message, we'll call you back. Or you can always send us an email, especially if it's an emergency. Send an email, say, I need to speak to someone right away. I have a decline on my card. I am standing at the front desk. We will get in touch with you, okay? The reason why we started those hours, it allows us to walk into the office that morning and be able to go through all the emails that came through at night, help people that have left messages, and be up and fresh and be ready to go to take that first phone call. So that also leaves it why we ended it at 4:30. It gives us a half hour that we're not on the phone at 4:59, and then we're not off that call until 5:15 because, as you know, we don't do overtime. So it just allows us time to wrap things up at the end of the day and to get back with people who have called and need assistance. So the purchasing cards, the P cards. So best practices. Who, what, when, where, and why, okay? That is all information that needs to be known. I always say the more information you give, the better off you're gonna be, okay? So, as Donna has on here, who purchased it, and the name of the vendor. What, and the when, the where, and the why. Invoice number if you have it. The other thing is, if you're doing things for somebody else, maybe it's an administrative in the office who's ordering or paying for conference registrations, putting that person's name on there for the person who is actually going on that trip or on that travel. That's the key thing. Is who that is for. You're ordering something that's for a classroom. You know, whoever the professor is who should be the who. You're ordering that product for that individual, okay? For what class, for what workshop, okay? And the date ranges. Obviously, if it's for, you know, like a class semester, maybe putting in the dates for the class semester that's for. If it's for a workshop, the beginning and ending dates of that workshop. So all this information is very important. So, as we always said, the 5 whys, the who, what, when, where, why, are the 5 W's. And where you are traveling. So, if you're traveling somewhere, obviously the city states where you're traveling. If it's a location, okay, it's where maybe that book is going to be residing. Maybe it's here in McMillan. Maybe it's in a different office. Maybe your office is over in a different building, location, okay? The other thing is to know that anything that is bought with university money, doesn't matter how it was bought or paid for, it is property of Miami University. Okay, maybe it was purchased for you to do the class, but that doesn't mean that you own that item. It was bought with university funds. Okay? So activity codes, wanted to talk a little bit about that. So I am told that Global Initiatives is now using activity codes, which makes it very nice. So if you don't know what your activity code is, I believe Donna has a Google Doc that's all set up where you can get your information. The other thing that's important is your index codes, your activity codes. And let me just say, there is a lot of information. You can go to the General Accounting's webpage that they have the information and a definition. Okay? If something does not match identically, but something is close, okay? I have to tell you, this is something else that we are working on, is the definitions, because it still has old technologies and not adding in the new e-books or something of that nature that, you know, is still saying books and periodicals, and maybe you've bought an e-book, okay? So you need to pick out what is best and what applies. If you see something that you don't know, you can always call us and ask us which might be the best account code to use for your description. And if it doesn't, then we can help direct you to where it needs to go. The other thing is, like I said, we're updating that information. So if you see something that you think needs to be updated, if you want to send an email to the Accounts Payable email account, please feel free to do so. We are wanting to update that information. Obviously, it's a little outdated for current technology stuff that's been happening over the years. So activity codes, that 3-digit code, it's important for Donna and then as they're looking at budgets and things, is to see where that money is going and that it's being purchased for specific things. Okay? Does that kind of cover, or you want to make?
Just the other thing, that if you don't know what activity code to use, or you feel that you need one set up for a specific project, just let me know and we'll create one of those.
It makes it very nice to be able to track everything that you've done, especially workshop, that everything then is, if you've bought it from one of your accounts here for Global Initiatives, that you can also track all that spend, okay? Oh, the fun things. Taxes, deadlines, increases for peak card. Let me just say that the Accounts Payable webpage, we have been updating it as we go along, okay? If you've been here for quite a while, it used to be there was hardly anything ever there. Now we have so much information and people don't realize that we have a lot of information there. I will just say, go and visit the Accounts Payable webpage. It has so much information now that will help you. So the link, we have a section, and I believe even Samantha, you helped start that, was our tax exempt certificate. There's a place that now you can click and you can see every state. It will tell you we're exempt, we're not exempt. If we're exempt, we have the certificate there. You can click and you can print it off, okay? I will tell you now for the state of Ohio, we are tax exempt in the state of Ohio, okay? There are some other states that we are not tax exempt in, and we do have to pay their taxes. The one thing that I think is a little difficult sometimes is hotels. Hotels are very difficult because I like to say they like to charge their whatever they like to call it tax that we do have to pay. Some of them have it as resort fees, some of them have them as bed taxes. And like I said, they all like to call them whatever they like to call them for whatever hotel that you're at. Those we do have to pay, okay? And I know it's difficult to look at the bottom line. Sales tax, we are responsible for that sales tax in those states that we are not tax exempt in, okay? So it's important if you're getting ready to travel, go to the Accounts Payable webpage, click on that tax form. Go down and search and see if the state that you are traveling to, are we tax exempt, okay? The other thing is with other states, it doesn't mean we're totally tax exempt for everything. 99% of the time, it is just on hotels. Reading the tax exempt certificate to find out what we are tax exempt for in those states is important. And if you have questions about the taxes and the tax forms, we do have a tax accountant here at the university She's in general accounting. Her name is Tracy Truxell. And if there's questions in regards to a tax, if we're responsible, not responsible for, you can always call and ask her. Or even call in our customer support. If we can help you, we are going to help you. Or we will go get the answer for you. Okay?
I have a question about that.
Yes.
If you're using something like hotels.com, or Orbitz or something along those lines, I've always had to pay tax. Is that because you're paying, is that okay? So even if I'm staying in an Ohio hotel, I'm getting a better rate on hotels.com than if I called the hotel directly?
No. We are not supposed to be paying Ohio state sales tax. So,
Yes.
you need to call them. It may be that we need to have an account set up.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, don't sign any contracts or agreements with them because you can't,
Right.
okay? But if there's something that needs to be set up, or maybe it's a matter of you do your order and you place it online, is then you need to call them and get them the tax exempt certificate to them to remove the sales tax. Okay? So that is also your responsibility to do that. Okay?
Also, to add to that, sometimes they'll have you fax it to them, but when you go, they also want a hard copy. So make sure if you have that to take it with you for
Right.
that stay.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe I'll ask you afterwards, because I've had, I'm not, since you're not paying the hotel, they won't allow me to do that. Because I'm paying like Orbitz, not
Okay.
the hotel.
Right.
But maybe I'll ask how to get language to get around that.
Okay.
Or maybe I just need to stop using it.
Well, and
It saves the university money, but maybe it's not worth it in the long run.
okay. And I will say there are some new things that's going to be coming out.
Okay.
There is some other options travel. I always get those flip-flopped. That is on our byway system that you can click. There are options travel is going to be a travel provider for the university. And I shouldn't say they are. They are. Okay. It's not made mandatory right now to use options travel. I see that coming in the near future that, the amount of time people spend to try and find the best rate, we're going to be having someone do that for us. And the other thing is our spend. We're already collecting data, giving it to Options Travel to say, we are spending X number of dollars with Delta, X number with United, whoever the carrier is, and hotels, what kind of rates can they get for us, okay? So that's the other thing is everybody has done in the past individual travels, going to Orbitz, Expedia, and all of that. But the big key thing is if everybody grouped and went to that one place, I know in the beginning it's going to be, well, I can save us money if we did blah, 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 okay? But in the end result, that if we funnel everything into one location, a company that can provide that for us, a service. The other things that come back is you have purchased something for a trip, and what if you can't go? Okay, it's purchased in your name. How can the university get that back? Okay, how can you use and spend that someplace else? Okay, so bringing people in even for interviews. All of a sudden they can say, I'm not going to come because I decided I'm going to do something else. Okay, we bought an airline ticket in that individual's name. Okay, this company would take care of all those little issues. Or maybe you get stuck someplace. And then you're the one who's making those phone calls to make those other plans to get you out of there because there was a delay, frost delay. Okay, so those are the other little key things that are important that are coming up.
Under the scenario of if you're going to a conference and the conference is at the hotel that they've got block of rooms for, I can see how you would use Options Travel maybe to get there. But okay to make your own reservations when you're going to a conference.
Yes. So also all depending where you're going, what you're doing. They normally when they're putting out that conference information, they're telling you what the hotel rate is. Okay? They've given you the amount. Well, maybe double checking with Options Travel to say, hey, I'm staying at this hotel. I see that on your website, this is one of the places that you've got a discount for us. Can you get me a better rate than this? Or should I book this separate from my airline? Okay? So, those are just things to consider. okay? So taxes, oh, deadlines. Important things, okay? So we do have, and this is more for P-card, there are deadlines. We have worked very hard to get those deadlines in place, especially for the reconciliation, because in the very beginning, when we rolled out P-card program, it was everything had to be done by the 10th, okay? That was very difficult and very tough. We understood that. So then it was decided that all reconcilers have to have things reconciled by the 10th of every month. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Come the 11th, we're running a report to say, oh, Samantha, I'm gonna pick on you since you're in the room. Samantha, you did not get these things reconciled. There is a violation policy. We have guidelines and rules that we have to follow. So it's not just state rules, but also we are reporting to the finance committee. When they're looking to see that, when we run reports to say, well, our reconcilers are only 59% compliant, they're going through the roof, because what if we are not doing something, which we're not, and what if we've bought something that we shouldn't have bought? Is this gonna make the headlines of the newspaper and a big egg on Miami's face to say, oh, Samantha went out and bought a new car, no wonder she didn't want to reconcile. I jokingly say that because that's one of the MCCs that we get declined anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't worry, I can't do it.
Can't do it anyway, but, you know, I like to have fun with these kinds of things. You know, same thing with like a cruise line, taking a cruise. You know, is that personal? You know? Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Me too, I love them.
Oh, I love them.
Unless you pay for that data package, you're cut off from the world.
Yes, that's why it's so nice.
That's why it's so nice, yes.
Can't reach it.
Yes.
That's right,
find you.
that's right.
I'm just curious, are you looking to update the systems we use? I know I've had personally at least had a lot of trouble with the receipt upload system. I like can't open it, it won't work in certain browsers, and I literally have 3 browsers open it just so I can go to that system.
Okay, are you talking P-card?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I just wanna clarify the system. Okay. As I say with P-card, and I understand, and it's a bank, it's JP Morgan, it's their system, it's their rules and guidelines. Okay.
Uploading the scan.
That's a self-built thing,
Yeah.
okay? Let me just say that in the very beginning when the program was developed, IT services wanted everybody to be able to logging in the banner and attach each thing into Extender, and I said, oh, no, that's not very user-friendly. Especially if people only reconcile maybe once in a blue moon. You know, they'd be calling us every day going, how do I attach that receipt now? It's not user-friendly. So they developed the system, okay? We are looking at trying to do some new things, which brings up the topic of the travel and expense module. I'll touch base to answer your question. Lucian, which is Banner, is not going to be supporting the travel module that we have. They have sold that division off, if you have not heard. The company that bought it, we have the option of going with them, or we are looking at some other companies, okay? So some of the new features and things that we are looking at to help with the images and the uploads and the receipts being there is, as you know, with technology it all changes. Sometimes it's for the better, sometimes we wonder if it's for the better. But with the new travel module, when we move to whichever one we go with, they are talking about that we are going to be able to export out the transactions from the P card into the travel module, and then being able to assign those transactions to the traveler, and being able to attach the receipt there instead of scanning a statement and all the receipts and doing an upload. Okay? So another thing is the bank had the capabilities of us being able to attach receipts, but the issue with doing that is they only keep and maintain things for 2 years. You know our guidelines and rules, we have to keep them for 5, sometimes for 6, depending upon where the funds are coming from. okay? So that's why we never really uploaded receipts into JP Morgan because of the file retention, okay? So with this new option with travel expense reporting, we were looking at the capabilities of, you wouldn't have to log into PaymentNet anymore to reconcile things. You would be able to do it into one system, which is the travel module, being able to attach the receipts directly there, and making life a little easier,
I was
because
just curious, it's just, I had to have my whole computer reinitialized once just to get back into that system, so it's been-
we get it. It's,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I can appreciate
it was the simplest thing at the time, but then again, it's also the naming convention sometimes of your file, because as you know, Banner does not like certain characters. Or if you go over 35 letters, spaces, whatever, and the combination, it is just a mix of things, okay? So we are trying to make the imaging a little bit better, so hopefully when we roll out the new travel expense module, that this will take some care of some of these issues.
When do you think that will possibly roll out? I know it sounds like a lot of investigating right now, but.
We are currently in the investigative stage right now and trying to make a decision. It could be as early as next year. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah, I know, you're gonna be seeing a lot of me around. That could be good, that could be bad. Ooh,
You went back a slide
I-
on accident.
I did, didn't I? Okay, I told
You
you.
missed one on the one back about
What did I miss?
the increase, you have to
Oh,
increase your
yeah,
P card.
sorry, you get me all sidetracked. So the other thing is, if you have increased your P card, you've sent in the form, we've increased your card. The other key that's important for auditing purposes is that you attach that information to the receipt as when you're scanning and uploading, so that they can see instantaneously as we are doing audits that you did get permission and we did increase your card, okay? So that's important to put it there. That's also probably another good thing to put into the notes to say, card was increased for this transaction, okay? The other thing is that I will say is there are some rules put into the P card. So if you have repetitive charges, so let's take a workshop, because if you're buying a lot of airline tickets and it comes up that it's a lot of money and it's multiple charges all in the same day, if you're the reconciler, you see the little dings off to the side, okay? It's automatically doing that because of the multiple charges to the same vendor on the same day, okay? The important thing is in reconciling it is putting that who, what, when, where, why. This ticket was for Susan, this one was for Donna, this one was for Samantha. We will not ding you for those being multiple charges on the same day, okay? But if you are, let's go to Alpha Promotions here for a second, that I split my charge because it was over the $1,500 transaction, and the invoice is showing that it was for $2,000, and I go, oh, charge $1,500, charge the balance a second time, and it hits on the same day, it's for the same invoice, you're in violation of the program, okay? You should have gotten the P card increased to take care of the invoice as one transaction, okay?
Can I ask you a question about that? Because I've just done this, and I was not aware I needed to upload the approval form with my card stuff. But it wouldn't go through necessarily if I didn't have the increase, would it?
It just makes it easier for audit. You need to keep that information all together, one, okay, as you're keeping your files and retentions. So the other thing is, if internal auditing is coming and they're just exporting out spreadsheets and they're just looking at transactions, and then they go to the images and they don't see where that was done, they don't and can't get into our system, okay? They are making sure, and they're coming up and visiting us and going, can you tell us if this card was increased for this purpose? Okay? It keeps them from having to come see us. It also, in our offices, we're doing audits for departments ourselves, making sure all the uploads are there. If we're going and looking into details that somebody else is increasing the card and someone else is doing the audit, okay? If that image is not there, it makes it that we have to go in and do some additional steps. It makes it easy to see the whole picture at one window on that monitor. Okay?
So I just re-upload add that into the receipts and upload
Yep.
it again?
Yes, if you would please. It just makes it easier. Okay? Any other questions on that? Okay. Oh, Kroger card. Transactions, personal expense charge to P card. So, it is a violation to do anything personal with the university P card. There's no question about that. The other thing that is not allowed is when you go shopping at Kroger's and you use your personal Kroger Plus card. Okay? That is, you are earning points, you are earning rewards, you are earning stuff. Okay? That is not allowed. Okay? That's the same thing as if you are doing university travel, you have Delta miles, you have Discover points, you have all kinds of reward programs out there. Okay? Looking at it, you need to be personally responsible for yourself, and that you are not using those to gain. Okay? I will tell you, I was hoping to have it all approved before I came to today's training, but it's still up in Dr. Kramer's office. We are in the process, and I hope that maybe yet this week, next week, we have it all into place. But we have gone to Kroger's and we have gotten a Kroger Plus card for the university.
That's what was running through my brain as you were speaking. It's like, why don't we have a university card?
Okay, it's because of all the fuel points and the rewards, okay? So there has to be a policy developed, okay? So we are in the process, we have the card, we're in the process of being able to roll it out to say this is gonna be the ID that you can key in to get the special pricing at Kroger so that you don't have to pay full prices. The other thing is there is not a way to turn off fuel points, so we are going to have to track and monitor that nobody is using them. So there is a policy that's being written that if you get caught using the university's fuel points, you could be terminated. You could lose your job.
That's cool. I mean, like, not that termination, but the rest of it.
The rest of the, yes, it is. We understand that there's been all kinds of issues. It's been something we've talked about. The whole issue has been the fuel points, okay? And people, then being able to key in that, ID number, and if they took advantage of the fuel points. Doesn't matter if you're filling up a university vehicle, you're filling up a rental vehicle, it's not a way that we can track it, and we are saying you cannot use any of the fuel point rewards. Kroger is working with us and trying to see if we can get those turned off so we don't have to track and monitor those. Yes, Mary Jane?
Will such termination be retroactive or effective on the date that this policy is established? And the reason I ask that is because in the past, when we didn't have these guidelines, we would use our Kroger card, or we would use our Delta Sky Miles. I mean, without even knowing that that was happening,
Right.
Sometimes it would just sort of happen automatically.
Exactly. It's gonna start when the policy starts. It's not gonna be retroactive. I mean, there's
because
multiple people that have used it, not really realizing, okay? Or thinking that, just because I've just ran in and bought $20 worth of something at Kroger's, and what? How many fuel points are you gonna earn on that? But we do have departments on campus that buy, let me use a kinesiology department where they go and buy their groceries for the cooking classes, okay? It's the same thing as shopping personally, and that's a lot of fuel points, that if someone is using their personal card.
Like Nicole's question, sometimes in the past we've done things thinking we're saving the university money and not even realizing that we are indirectly or directly benefiting. So it was good faith efforts on our part to save the university money,
Yes.
not even being cognizant of these other outcomes.
Yes. And that's just one thing to think of.
I don't think you want to fire hundreds of people.
No. No, we don't. And that's not the whole point of it. It's just a matter of we're gonna have to put this policy in place, and it's gonna have to be, we're gonna give you the discounts of Kroger's, because the other thing, I'm even trying to help load some of the digital coupons so that people can get those extra dollars off. But it is a matter of then the fuel points, and that then people don't go and use that ID. And, because if you looked at the university as a whole, for everybody going to Kroger's to buy things, that could be a lot of dollars off fuel.
I'm also thinking though, like of hotels. So often when we make reservations for hotels, and
The rewards.
This has happened to me where automatically, I've had to fight with people at the desk saying, do not charge me, please do not give me these points. This is not a personal trip.
Correct.
And they've ignored it, and they've still.
And that's why, one of the reasons why we're getting a provider to do these things for us and to help us is for them to be the ones tracking those things, okay? And for then the university to be able to benefit as a whole versus an individual.
But I just
Okay.
want to make sure. that
I get it, and I get phone calls too, because if you've gone and stayed at a hotel, and then you have an issue with that hotel, okay? And then if they give you a credit back, okay? And if you've added personal travel with that as well on a trip, it gets very muddy. And I understand that, because then the hotel that I went to ended up sending me a certificate that I could go back and stay for 2 days free. I turned that into the university.
Or free Starbucks.
Okay.
What do you do with that?
But there's all kinds of things. So the other thing is as you go and stay at places, I've had phone calls that people have called me, the hotels, and, oh, we want you to come stay with us again. We're going to offer you this great deal if you want to go. I said, no, I was on university business. I cannot accept that. Oh, yeah, you can't. No, I can't. So I appreciate the call, but no, thank you. And I say, I'm sorry, but I cannot accept, or I can't stay. I know they want me to come and stay, obviously, because they're trying to give me a good deal. But I was on university business, okay? And I have to look at it as, I can't accept that deal. Even how great that deal is, I can't accept it because I was there at your hotel on university business, okay? I personally cannot accept this great discounted rate at this lovely resort. Okay?
That'd be the
Yes.
same with like a flight voucher. If you were flying for university, they're like, oh, we'll bump you and we'll give you a $200 Delta voucher. I'm assuming that would be the same thing.
It's, turning it into the university. It's not personally yours.
But that can go for the next trip that you do for the university. Is that
If you're
right?
if you're doing a lot of travel, see, as myself, I turn those things in. It's like the one I got for the couple night stay at the hotel, where the resort wasn't ready for the conference, and the room was really, really bad, really bad. That they gave us some free nights. Some people was in the new section, some of us was in the old section, and it was bad. And so everybody who was in the bad sections got some things. I turned it in. Oh gosh, I'm gonna go back to when Adolph was here as the VP. That's showing, I guess, my age now, or how long I've been here at the university. But I turned that voucher into him. They had some other things that was turned in for other things, and then they did a big grand drawing and dispersed those things, okay? That's up to them. It wasn't up to Susan to decide. Susan can have that voucher back. I had this terrible stay. It doesn't matter.
What do you turn those things into?
I turned him up, well, Adolph was in the VP for finance position,
So the finance office?
and, yep. So,
Also, we have, I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. We have our own department Kroger card. So I'm assuming that when the new one comes out, we cut that up and then we just use the new number, correct?
yes. Which department?
Corporate and Community Institute.
Okay. That's what I was thinking. Kinesiology had the same issues and problems, so they kind of have their own thing that we're working with them. They were kind of our first pilot test program. That's why I was just making sure I knew,
We're not
I
even close to
figured.
the volume they do, but,
Yeah.
we do that.
But we need to be able to save money, and that's, we understand that. And trying to figure out those plans and those discounted rates and how we're gonna work it for the university. Okay?
one question. Okay, how many P card we should have for one department, for one?
That's up to the department, okay?
Or one?
I'm gonna say that there's been some new policies for P card, that you cannot order a card in your name and then order duplicate cards with your name in addition, the same account number on it. That people have done that in the past. JP Morgan is not gonna allow it anymore, because it's fraud alert stuff that's coming up. So there's gonna be some things coming out here soon about the new policies of P card and what you need to be doing with them.
But we have two P cards. It is available for our institute, Confucius Institute. We have two P cards.
And different people's names?
Yes.
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 Yes, within the
Yes.
department, you can have a card for everybody if that's what they decided to do.
Oh,
So
okay.
you
Okay,
guys are
and that's what I'm saying, but some people have like, I'm gonna pick on Samantha here again in a second. You know, that maybe Donna says, Samantha, I want you to have a card, I want you to have duplicate cards so that you can pass it out to people.
Oh,
Okay, that is a big no-no, okay?
Thanks.
Mhm. We gotta move on. Oh, and personal charges, there is a form stack form that if you have to do personal charges, and I'm just gonna say and refer to accounts payable webpage, that if you have a personal charge, you can be processing it through here and drop off a check to our office so that we can take care of those personal charges, okay? Hosting. So there's a new hosting form. You need to be filling those things out. It's important to put all that who, what, when, where, why. The relationship for the trip, or what the event was. So like today, Donna better be filling out a hosting document for all this lovely food that she provided us today, and making sure that it is paid for with the right indexes, and she has documented what the whole thing was about. Susan coming in and talking about all these rules. So the other thing is hosting. There are guidelines and rules for business meals. So if you're taking someone out, if you're on a workshop even, that you meet the test of reasonableness, if I could talk this morning. I guess maybe I didn't have enough coffee. So limits, just the same as like per diems, you have limits. You need to stay in those $20 for breakfast, $40 for lunch, and $70 for dinner, okay? They have been increased because they had not been increased in a long, long time. But that total needs to also include any tips and any taxes that you have had to pay. So the other thing is, if you are doing something really elaborate and it's over these limits, you are needing to go to your department chair and even up to the VP level to get permissions before you just do this, okay? So, it's very important to stay in those guidelines and rules. I know discretionary, non-discretionary is an issue. Donna said I didn't have to touch too much on this. The thing is to remember, discretionary, non-discretionary. You have Miami money that is given to departments for an index and is supposed to be purchased for Miami things. Okay? Then you have the other where it is, generally those are funded for gifts, other things that are purchased for the university, or there has been money donated that is for a specific reason, that indexes are created and set up, okay? And you need to follow our guidelines and rules, because we do follow the IRS guidelines. I gotta roll on is what I'm getting told. Yes?
I have a question. For example, the last time that we have an international scholar in residence for CWC, I got a gift card to allow him to have his meals around, because now in the merge of all those services, those are included. Let's say if I can couldn't accompany him for lunch and he was with a student, they use that for the meal. Because all those services
Okay,
are
so
combined.
let me just say, you shouldn't be buying gift cards to be paying for their meals.
But they explained to me that they are used on the dinings, for the bookstore, for everywhere here. So I thought it can be used for him to have a meal.
no gift cards
Because
of that
they
nature
told
should
me
be
that
purchased.
This is not the
If we are
definition
paying
of
for
gift card.
things, okay, you need to be going through the right processes. So, example, if it was for travel things, it should be then doing a per diem thing through the travel expense module.
Yeah, we do
Okay.
that all the time. Yeah.
Okay, but let me just explain that if you're buying a gift card, if you're buying other things as gifts and giving it to someone, there are dollar level thresholds. Let me just say that we could say, and it is technically, even if it's a penny, it's considered taxable income. Okay? So,
Okay, what I
those
would
are
agree-
things, okay? Just we are running kind of short on time and there's still a
Okay.
lot to cover. So
Yeah,
let me just say that there are rules, okay? Doesn't matter what kind of gift it is or what you are doing. If you are giving anybody something, we should be reporting it then to payroll to let them know because it is probably taxable income, especially if it's over the $50. Okay? And there's certain things that's even under that amount that should be reported because it could be considered taxable income. Okay? So I'll just say, call us or talk to payroll of what you need because you need to have the person's name, what was given, how much was given, and an address. Okay. Yeah, so the flower business, birthdays, those kinds of things, to me, those are not really Miami-related business things. That should not really be spent Miami money. Oh, yeah, okay. So, I did get ahead of myself a little bit there. So, just as a reminder, gifts, anything over 50 is considered taxable income. You need to report it. Information of what you need then will also be, given to you as a PowerPoint. And I'll just say, give us a call. Reimbursements. So, you should not be buying things with your own personal funds or even telling students to use their personal money to buy something for Miami and reimburse them. Plain and simple. Okay? You should be using our systems. You should be using Byway. You should be using P-Card. You should be using your travel expense module if it's travel related expenses, using the P-Card. So it's important that you do not have, especially students, buying things for the university and us reimbursing them. We are looking at reimbursements, and at some point there's going to be, I believe, a policy coming out to tell you that we will not be reimbursing individuals. You should have been doing and processing through the proper channels. Okay? We have given you the tools. You need to use Miami tools to make the purchases for Miami money stuff. Policy and procedure, obviously. Also, the other thing is original receipt. This needs to show what it is was purchased, how much it was, how it was paid for. Also, if it's paid by credit card, receipts don't show it was paid. So some people who are getting reimbursed, if it's not showing that it was paid or how it was paid, and you did pay for it, you need to provide like your personal statement from the bank showing that you paid that company and for that amount. You can redact all the other information, but you do have to provide something that shows that you did pay for it. Okay? Oh, travel. One of the important things with travel, I'm going to tell you, is once you have traveled for the university, once you have returned, you have 60 days to get that processed. Okay? You need to get that processed and you need to get it submitted in that time range. If it's over the 60 days and you submit a travel, it can be then that accounts payable is contacting you and saying, are you still wanting to be reimbursed for this trip? Because if you do still want to be reimbursed for that trip, it will be considered taxable income. Okay? So, it's important you get it processed in the 60-day time range because you don't want to be taxed on something. Okay? Travel mileage is another good thing. let me talk mileage just real quick. So, if you're traveling somewhere and you're leaving home first, okay, you cannot consider, and if you come to the campus first before you go on your trip, you cannot include that from home to office into your trip, okay? It would be from your home or from the campus to your destination, okay? So if, example, I do going to campuses a lot, my home where it's at is about the same amount of mileage if I travel from home to Hamilton campus, if I'm going to Hamilton, as if I come from my home to Oxford. So if I'm gonna do training at Hamilton, I'll try and schedule training so that I'm starting there bright and early in the morning, that nobody likes to start that early, that I drive straight there. And the university is not paying my mileage from my home to Hamilton campus. It's the same. If my point of home was further, so maybe I am in College Corner, I could take College Corner to a certain point if I went straight there, but I cannot add what the mileage would be. No, I can't take College Corner to Oxford, but Oxford down, okay? Yeah, I know, it's very confusing. You have to really stop and think about these miles and can I claim them, can I not claim them, okay?
I have a question on that because we just had a conference in Indianapolis, and so I stopped here on my way to Indianapolis, and my travel report was approved. I live in Westchester, so it was sort of passing through here on the way there because I had to pick something up in the office. So should I not have claimed that? Then why did it get approved?
They'd know you would have stopped at the office.
Well, yeah, and I had that on there. It was all on my report because it was a Sunday, and I wouldn't have. It's not like I was coming here anyway. But I mean, what I'm wondering is why.
Well, it probably because it wasn't a regular work day.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, you did kind of swing. I don't know what to, but maybe looking at it is because it wasn't coming in and doing some work and leaving. You just did a drive-by, pass-by, heading to your conference, and it was Sunday. It's not a normal kind of working day, is probably why.
Right.
Okay, but if it's a regular day and you're coming.
Yeah, no, I mean that.
Yeah.
Obviously, but.
No. But probably because it was on a Sunday. Okay? So the other thing is travel between campuses, there's only certain amounts. So the other thing is, if you're over that limit, and let me just explain, Susan can't get anywhere. Samantha will confirm that for me. I get lost a lot. Used to be Middletown campus laughed at me all the time. Wanted to know if I made it without getting lost. I'm doing better.
Well, they had a lot of construction going on at the time, which didn't help.
So I had detours, and so my mileage was different. And so the other thing is documenting that information, okay? Because otherwise, accounts payable is looking at, okay, Susan traveled from Oxford to Middletown, okay? Well, why did she claim 20 extra miles? Well, she drove clear to Hamilton and took the long way around. Because I got lost. That's over-exaggeration. But I'm just saying, if I don't document and record that, it needs to be approved by the person I report to, and then it comes into accounts payable. So, I mean, then there's that iffy, are you gonna pay Susan because of her detourness and not being able to navigate? Was approved by my person I report to, but I then need to document that as to why I went over the mileage rate, okay? Good, taxes. I think I've kind of touched a lot on taxes, but I have to say, there are other taxes that airlines do charge that we do have to pay, so just be aware of those. The other thing is making sure that, for travel, those personal charges when you go to the hotel, if they charge you because you went down and got a manicure, pedicure, that's personal, you need to make sure that that is taken off your hotel bill. If you had meals charged to your room, you need to make sure that those are taken off because you're on a per diem rate, okay? If you watch those in-room movies, you need to have those removed.
For the airline thing, so say I'm flying to a state where I guess Miami is tax exempt, how do I fix that?
Those are other different taxes that
Okay.
they are charging. We have to pay those.
Okay, 'cause
Okay.
you just have a state where their
It's-
only state sales tax, so that
It's
doesn't
only
apply
just
twice.
making sure state,
Right.
yeah, they normally don't charge state taxes. Those are more federal for the fuel and all the other little things that they charge, okay? Missing receipts, yeah, okay. So let me just say with the travel, you have to have a receipt for anything that is $75 or more, okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You do not have to attach any receipts for meals because we are just paying you a per diem. Okay? Doesn't matter if you spent less, doesn't matter if you spent more because you got that dessert. You are only going to get paid what the per diem rate is. So you don't have to attach those. You do not have to reattach anything that was put onto the university P card. Okay? But you do have to put anything on there that is $75 or more. So maybe if you had long-term parking, you need to have a receipt for that because maybe it went over $75 because you were gone for 2 weeks. Don't know what all the situations might be. I haven't had anything over $75, but I always say you're better off if you just attach every receipt that you are asking for reimbursement. That way there's no question, nothing gets returned for correction. And then even your person that you report to does not have to question that you're asking for $50 for long-term parking. You have an actual receipt, okay? So it's important that you have and document your receipts for non-reimbursables, but you do have to have anything over 75. If you don't have one, you do have to fill out a missing receipt affidavit. Oh, yeah, and receipts for hotels you do have to put in no matter what. Okay. Ooh, contracts. You cannot sign any contract for the university. Okay? There's only certain key people that can. So the other thing is, if someone is coming to you with a contract for anything, maybe you're doing an event, you need to do this through Byway and attach the contract, and it is routed then over to Bill Shaver and Dick Pratt. Okay? They are the ones who view this. These people are the ones who sign it. These are the people that give you the permission to do it. Okay? They are the ones who sign it. They then return it back to you. Now, the other thing is with Byway, it does not automatically generate a requisition number. So once you have gotten the contract signed, you then have to take action for the next processes. So if the vendor takes a purchase order, you can do it as a non-catalog item and get the order going. Because there are certain things that we have to have as criteria, okay? And rules for dollar thresholds for liability issues. So I'll just use as example student organizations as they have these little events on campus and you see a bouncy house out there, okay? They have to also get additional insurance just so that you know to cover if there is any accidents as they're having these bouncy houses, okay? If there's a contract, they still even have to take it to certain people here at the university to sign that contract for the vendor to come on campus to set up that bouncy house, okay? Same thing with tents or anything else that you're doing for the university, any contract. I will also just say that there's a tab on our site for contract signatures who can sign and at what dollar thresholds, okay? So you can always go and visit that as well. Whew. Okay. Questions?
Not a question, but just a comment for Concur, because I worked at another university previously where we used Concur. So we did our P-card reconciliation, our travel, everything in the one system, and I strongly recommend we do that because we are currently using so many different systems that it was very nice, very efficient to just be able to do everything in a single system. So.
That's one of the companies we are looking at, just so you know.
Yes, I know that you are, that's why I'm giving it a strong recommendation.
Thank
It's very
you.
nice.
It is also, you know, the travel provider also is working with Concur as well, so, you know, I don't know what the end result is gonna be, but I think the travel module as we move forward is gonna be better, new and improved, and I think getting away from the JP Morgan's website will help tremendously, with all those other little things and passwords and locking you out and, you know, doesn't like this system, doesn't like this browser, doesn't like, it's craziness. So yes, that is one of the key things, and the key point of we move to a new travel module is being able to reconcile everything in one place and not have to go into the bank system, so, yes.
I just want to let everybody know how wonderful Susan's office is to work with. So I'd like to publicly acknowledge your office, Susan, and thank you. You have been incredibly helpful to me over the past 14 years, but a lot more recently. There are times that I call Susan's office like 3 or 4 times a day, especially around P card time. We had an emergency with the Indian Students Association the other day. I called, it was after hours, and Susan got back to me by email within 5 minutes, or voicemail, I don't remember. But I just want to let you know, these are wonderful people to work with, and I really want to thank you, because as we change systems, and as the tax laws change, and as all these new regulations and policies and procedures are birthed, you guys have just been fabulous, so thank you.
Thank you, I'm glad to hear that. Anything else?
All right, thank you,
Okay.
Susan.
Thank you.